जय सपरिकार श्री श्री गुरु गौरांग गंधर्विका गिरिधारी श्री श्री राधा विनोद बिहारी जीव की जय। This is loose. जय श्री श्री गुरु गौरांग गंधर्विका गिरिधारी श्री श्री राधा विनोद बिहारी जीव की जय। जय श्री श्री राधा गंधर्व गोविंद सुंदर की जय। जय श्री श्री राधा माधव की जय। जय श्री नवद्वीप धाम की जय। नित्य लीला प्रविष्ट ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस अष्टोत्तर शत श्री शिल ऐसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज शिल प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्य लीला प्रविष्ट ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस अष्टोत्तर शत श्री शिल भक्ति वेदांत नारायण गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। नित्य लीला प्रविष्ट ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस अष्टोत्तर शत श्री शिल भक्ति रक्षक श्रीधर गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। नित्य लीला प्रविष्ट ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस अष्टोत्तर शत श्री शिला भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। नित्य लीला प्रविष्ट ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस अष्टोत्तर शत श्री शिला भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। नित्य लीला प्रविष्ट ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस अष्टोत्तर शत श्री शिला भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी ठाकुर शिल प्रभुपाद की जय। जय महाभागवत शिल गौर किशोर दास गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। श्री शिल सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथ दास बाबू जी महाराज की जय। श्री गौरी वेदांताचार्य बलदेव विधिभूषण प्रभु की जय। श्रील विश्वनाथ चक्रवर्ती ठाकुर की जय। श्री नरोत्तम श्रीनिवास श्यामानंद प्रभु त्राय की जय। श्रील कृष्णदास कविराज गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्ट दास रघुनाथ सद गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय। शिला स्वरूप दामोदर राय रमनंदारी गौर पार्षद वृंद की जय। नाम आचार्य शिल हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम सिको श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री नवद्वीप धाम की जय। श्री अंतरद्वीप मायापुर सीमंतद्वीप गोद्रुमद्वीप मध्यद्वीप खोलद्वीप ऋतुद्वीप जनद्वीप मोद ध्रुमद्वीप रुद्रद्वीपात्मका श्री श्री नवद्वीप धाम की जय। जय श्री पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपी गो गोवर्धन द्वादश वनात्मक श्री ब्रज मंडल धाम की जय। श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद यमुना गंगा तुलसी भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री श्री राधा गोविंद राधा गोपीनाथ राधा मदन मोहन जीव की जय। श्री श्री राधा गोकुलानंद राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा रमन राधा दामोदर जीव की जय। जय श्रीमती ललित विशाखा आदि अष्ट सखी वृंद की जय। श्री रूप मंजरी रति मंजरी आदि मंजरी वृंद की जय। श्रीमती वृंद देवी की जय। श्रीमती पौर्णमासी योग माया देवी की जय। श्री गोपीश्वर महादेव की जय। सर्वभीष्ट प्रदाता गिरिराज गोवर्धन की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद्भागवतम की जय। श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा सुदर्शन चक्र जीव की जय। Jai Bhakti Vigna Vinashana Shri Nrsingadev ki jai. Bhakta Pravara Shri Prahlad Maharaj ki jai. Charudam Charu Sampradaya Charu Acharya ki jai. Akaramat Raj Shri Chaitanya Mat ki jai. Aur Ananya Shakamat Samuha ki jai. Shri Vishva Vaishnav Rad Sabha ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Tri Bhuvana Pavana Harinam Samkirtana ki jai. Tri Bhuvana Mangala Harinama Prabhu ki jai. Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai. Shri Sachinandan Gaura Hari ki jai. Shri Nityananda Mahajana ki jai. Shri Panchatattva ki jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Shinitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari. You can put this incense, you can extinguish it, no need anymore. We're going to light that in the beginning so that the mosquitoes go away. Huh? Yeah. But now it's permeated the whole room, so no need to keep that. Okay. So we're studying Sikshastakam, and I thought it would be nice to sing the 8 shlokas of Sikshastakam. So I'm just going to sing it. I'm not going to sing it responsively. I'm just singing it to Prabhupada's melody that he recorded it himself. Chaito Darbanamarjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidya Vadhu Jivanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamritasvadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shakti Tatrarpita Niyamita Smarane Nakalaha. Did you put video on? Etadrishi tava kripa Bhagavan mamapi Durdaiva midrisha mihajani Nanuragaha Chanadapi sunichena Tarodapi sahishnuna Amanina manadena Kirtaniya sadhahari Na dhanam na janam na sundarim Kavitam va jagadisha kamaye Mama janmani janmanishvare Bhavatad bhaktir ahaitu tvai Nayanam galadashradharaya Vadanam gadgadarudhaya gira Pulakair nichitam vapukkada Tavanama Tamanama grahane bhavishyati Gaitam nimeshena Chakshusha pravrisaitam Shunyaitam jagat sarva Govinda virahena me Ashlishya va padaratam pinashtuma Adarshanan marmahatam karotu va Yatha tatha va vidadhatu lampato matprananatastu saeva napara matprananastu saeva napara matprananatastu saeva napara. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasari Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasari Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Shri Govinda Gopinatha Madana Mohan Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Kalindi Jamuna Jaya Jaya Maha Keshigata Vamshivata Dvadasha Kana Jahasava Lila Kaila Shri Nanda Nanda Shri Nanda Soda Jaya Jaya Gopagan Shri Damadi Jaya Jaya Dhenu Vatsagan Jaya Vrishabhanu Jaya Kirtida Sundari Jaya Purnamasi Jaya Abhiranagari Jaya Jaya Gopishwara Vrindavanama Jaya Jaya Krishna Saka Bhatudvijara Jaya Rama Ghata Jaya Rohini Nandan Jaya Jaya Vrindavana Vasijata Jaya Dvija Patni Jaya Nagakanyaga O Bhakti Te Jahara Pailo Govinda Chara O Shri Rasa Mandala Jaya Jaya Radha Shyam Jaya Jaya Rasa Leela Sarva Manoram Jaya Jaya Jvala Rasa Sarva Rasa Sa Parakhi Abhave Jaha Rajite Prachar Shri Janava Pada Padma Kariya Smara Dina Krishna Dasa Koye Nama Samkirtan Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Hari Bol 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 Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Haribo, Haribo, Nitai Go, Haribo, 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 Haribo. Jai Shri Shri Sikshastakam Ki Jai Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu Ki Jai Jai Shri Nityananda Mahajana Ki Jai Shri Panchatattva Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Kuroti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Shri Gurun Dinataranam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Yevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahabhadanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tishe Namah Nityanandam Namastubhyam Premananda Pradayane Kalo Kalmashanashaya Janavapataye Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavasya Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Namah Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I'm first of all offering my unlimited Koti Koti Dandavat pranams and my heartfelt Pushpanjali, Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable, beloved Gurudev, Nityalila Pravishtom Vishnupad, Paramahansa Stotarasata, Sri Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. Then I'm offering my same unlimited Dandavat pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable, beloved Siksha Gurudevs, Nityalila Pravishtom Vishnupad, Paramahansa Stotarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj, and Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Ashtotar Sata Sri Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. I offer my Dandavat pranams to the lotus feet of all of my Sri Siksha Guru Varga and my Sri Sri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga. And I offer my Dandavat pranams to all the Vaishnavas and to all the Vaishnavis. So now we are continuing with our classes in which we are reading and trying to understand, trying to enter into the beautiful commentary that Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj has given on the Sikshastakam, the 8 verses spoken by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the other day we started this reading, and again I'm reading the translation of the first shloka because we're studying the first shloka. Chaito Darpanam Marjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadhu Jivanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Puranam Rita Svadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. So here in this first shloka, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is informing everyone how Shri Krishna Sankirtan, the chanting of the holy names of Krishna, will be all victorious. Param Vijayate, supremely victorious. So, the translation of this verse, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is informing us that as we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and we become more and more surrendered and more dedicated and more feeling ourselves low and fallen and humble, then 7 different effects will take place inside of us. 7 different effects. And in this first shloka, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving the list of these 7 different effects. So the first one is Chaito Darpana Marjanam. So, do you know the meaning of this line, Chaito Darpana Marjanam? So here's 3 words, Chaito, Darpana, Marjanam. Chaita means our heart. It can also mean our mind. And there's actually a definition of the word Chaita, that this is the finest dividing line between our subtle body and our transcendental Atma, is the Chaita, the most subtle covering. And in that Chaita, which is in the subtle body, in that Chaita is an accumulation of what Mahaprabhu is referring to as dust. Because when you clean a mirror, what happens? Dust is there. Generally you don't find mud and so many other things, you find dust. But dust also accumulates in layers and layers of dust. If you have a mirror in a room somewhere and you leave it there for 1 year, 5 years, you will find that there's quite a thick layer of multiple layers of dust. Now we know here in India, dust is always found everywhere, especially in Uttar Pradesh. Dust is everywhere. Even Gurudev commented on that when he came to the West. Here, not so much dust, but there, so much dust. But in Vrindavan, that dust is very special dust. We want that dust. I don't know about Delhi dust, but we want Vrindavan dust. Anyway, the main meaning that Mahaprabhu is putting forward here is that our heart has accumulated so much dust over millions of lifetimes. Cheto Darpana Marjanam, this chanting of the holy name of Krishna, that's the first effect that starts to happen to anyone who sincerely tries to chant Krishna's names. And what is that? That all the dust that has accumulated, it becomes cleansed away, cleaning the mirror of the heart. So, I'm reading this translation. The holy name of Krishna cleanses the mirror of the heart. And it extinguishes, this is the second effect, it extinguishes the fire of misery in the forest of birth and death. Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam. The word bhava, it refers to this material world, this material creation. This is referred to as bhava. The world of repeated birth and death. Nobody lives forever here. Everyone has to die. Everyone has to grow old, get disease, die, then be reborn again. So this is the compared to a forest fire. A forest fire burns everything in its path. But also a forest fire, it's very hard to trace where did it start? Where did the tiny little flame start and then it started to burn the whole forest? So we are suffering in this forest fire of repeated birth and death, and we cannot trace out the beginning of this, but we've been here since time immemorial, beyond time. So, what happens? The second effect of chanting the holy name of Krishna, the second effect is Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam. That the forest fire of repeated birth and death is extinguished. Liberation starts to come through the chanting of Krishna's Naam. And then Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam. As the evening lotus blooms, evening lotus is very important in this verse. It's not a daytime lotus. It's not a daytime lotus. There are different types of lotus flowers. This is a nighttime lotus. And it has a specific name, Kairava. There are many different types of lotus flowers. But this lotus flower blooms by the moon rays, not the sun rays. So Mahaprabhu is using this beautiful poetical example. He says, as the evening lotus blooms in the moon's cooling rays, the heart begins to blossom in the nectar of the name. So Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam. I'm telling the meaning of each one of these four words. Shreya. Shreya means our ultimate benefit. Shreya. There are two types of things that are attainable in this world. Two different categories of things that people want to attain in this world. One is called Preya, and one is called Shreya. Preya means very trifling things that are very insignificant, sensual gratification. I want a rasgulla, I put it in my mouth, okay. But Shreya is temporary. Everyone is chasing after Dharma, Artha, Kam in this material world. Artha means money, material, economic development. Artha. And what is the purpose of Artha? So that you can gratify your desires. Kam. What you desire to have, what you desire to enjoy in this world. So all of these in this material world are called preya, because they only last a short time, and your heart never becomes satisfied by them, but yet everyone still keeps chasing for these temporary. This is the difference between a sober person and an intoxicated person. That an intoxicated person keeps on chasing after the same thing. It never gave him happiness, not one single time. Always gave him problems from his intoxication, but still he wants more intoxication. Now, on the other side is benefit that is known as Shreya. This is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is referring to in this Shikshashtakam shloka. Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam. So, Shreya means your ultimate good fortune. The ultimate attainment and the ultimate good fortune of the Jiva soul in this world. And what is that? It means that you will have your relationship with Krishna. This is called Shreya. You will attain love for Krishna. You will leave everything behind in this world forever. And you will go to Krishna. And you will serve Him there in the association of all of His eternal parikar. And you will become one of His parikar. So, this great achievement is called Shreya, and what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is referring to is the third effect of chanting Hare Krishna mantra. Shreya Kairava. Here's this word Kairava, night blooming lotus flower. So, he's comparing our good fortune as the lotus, the night blooming lotus of our good fortune. That the lotus flower is being compared to our ultimate good fortune. Shreya Kairava. And how does that lotus bloom? How does it open? How does it blossom, that lotus? Because it's a night blooming lotus. Chandrika Vitaranam. Chandrika means moonbeam. In the material world, we can sometimes see sun rays. But it's very fine to discern a moon ray. They exist though. They're very, very subtle. And this particular, here Mahaprabhu is referring to the moon ray of what? The moon ray of Sri Krishna Sankirtanam, of chanting the holy name of Krishna. Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam. Vitaranam means to open the lotus of our ultimate good fortune. Okay, so those are the first three effects. They will be attained in the stages of Shraddha, and then the second effect will be attained in the stage of Anartha Nivritti, and the stage of practicing sadhan bhajan, which is called bhajana kriya, under the guidance of Guru and Vaishnavas. That stage is represented by the second effect. Then the third effect will come in the stage of nishta. Yes, in the stage of nishta. And then the fourth effect will come in the stage of ruchi. That is what is being told here. Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam, that the lotus of our good fortune will bloom and blossom in a relationship with Krishna. So, then there is Vidyavadhu Jivanam, Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam, Pratipadam Purnam Ritasvadanam, Sarvatma Snapanam, Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtan. Sarvatma Snapanam is the final effect in the highest stage of prem as a maidservant of Srimati Radhika. So these are very esoteric, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he's now explaining these for us. So yesterday we heard about the meaning of Sri Krishna Samkirtanam, the meaning of those words, Sri Krishna Samkirtanam, and also Param Vijayate, supreme victory. So I'm continuing to read, because he told that Samkirtan does not only mean congregational chanting, because the word Samyak, Samkirtana, it means full, complete. So he explained that it means complete in both ways, qualitatively complete and quantitatively complete. So when there's a congregational chanting, this is also called Samkirtan, but there are many levels of chanters in the congregation. And therefore there are very many different levels of realization amongst them. And some may be very beginning level, like this. But it's beneficial, that Sri Krishna Samkirtan is beneficial and victorious for all levels of Vaishnavas. But the qualitative chanting, it only requires one pure devotee. And that is Maha Samkirtan. You see. So Samkirtan means complete kirtan. A song in praise of the complete whole. The absolute truth. We read about that yesterday, the other day. Because anything else than the absolute truth, the complete whole, it is only partial representation. And therefore it is defective. It is lacking to a certain extent. So it cannot be Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Samkirtanam. Any other praise of demigods or even other forms of the Lord is ultimately not complete. Because only Krishna is the complete absolute truth. Only Krishna is. He's the source of all avatars, everything. Therefore Krishna should be praised. Krishna should be praised. We don't have to think, oh, I have to praise Lord Narayan, I have to praise this avatar, that avatar. No. If Krishna is praised, that's full Samkirtan, real Samkirtan. So Krishna's glory should be chanted, for He is everything. He is everything. He is also the Master. And He is the dispenser of both good and bad. Everything comes from Him. He is the absolute controller of everything. And everything is due to Him. And the fulfillment of all life is reached in Him alone. The fulfillment of all life is reached in Him alone, no one else. Just as a horse, that example. A horse has, reins, they're called. So those reins can check his movements. That's why when a person's riding a horse, he's holding onto the reins of the horse, because the reins pull and they check his movement. But if you let the reins loose on the horse, what will the horse do? He'll take off and run very freely. You see? So, when real Sankirtan is performed to Sri Krishna, then our praise, yes. So that our praise, when we're praising Sri Krishna, when there is no mundane intention in that praise mixed in, no material desires mixed into that praise of Krishna, then what will happen? It will run like the horse who doesn't have the reins. It will run straight towards the supreme cause, Sri Krishna. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that Sri Krishna Sankirtan should thrive throughout the whole world, and it should be victorious without any hindrance. Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. And it should be a spontaneous, unchecked, and natural flow. It should be exclusive, independent, and without reservation. And this praise of Krishna should be congregationally chanted. That vibration is beneficial for the whole world. And only by surrender and by pure devotion can we take to Sri Krishna Sankirtan. Now, what are the different stages through which we will pass when we are chanting the holy name of Krishna? What are the different stages through which we will pass? So the first stage, we just talked about it, is that it cleanses the mirror of the mind. And if the mirror of our mental system is covered with dust, then what happens? We cannot see things clearly. And scriptural advice cannot be properly reflected there. Understand? What is the advice is given in the Shastras, the Vedic knowledge, all of this coming down through Guru Parampara. If our mind is too much filled with all this dust and dirt and everything, then it can't reflect like a mirror. It cannot reflect if it's covered with dust. Yes. If our mental system, if the mirror of our mental system is covered with dust, then we cannot see things clearly. Everything will be hazy. And the scriptural advice, this knowledge, this truth, it cannot be properly reflected there. Now, what are the different kinds of dust covering the mirror of the mind? Now we're going to find out. Different kinds of dust. What are they, these little particles of dust? Our infinite, fleeting, and organized desires. All of this is considered dust. What is that? Our infinite desires, our fleeting, momentary desires, and also our very organized desires, they are all considered dust. And our hearts and our minds, they are covered with layers and layers of this dust. And therefore we cannot see things properly. And they cannot properly reflect in our mind, because it is covered with the infinite, ordinary desires of this mundane world. What are they? Bhukti, Mukti, Siddhi, Kami, Sakali, Ashanta. Bhukti Kami, Mukti Kami, Siddhi Kami. So what is Bhukti? Do you know what Bhukti is? Huh? No. Bhukti. 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 B-H-U-K. Bhukti. Bhukti. Bhukti means material sense gratification is called bhukti. Then mukti. What is meaning of mukti? Yes, but impersonal liberation. Mukti. Bhukti, mukti. And then siddhi. Siddhi, kami. A kami means one who has kam for these things. One who has kam, lust, attachment, to get these things. So siddhi kami means one who is attached to the yoga process and the temporary mystic powers that can be developed through the yoga process, through which you can subtly enjoy. Huh? Yes. Yoga siddhis. Okay? So, this is a verse that he's quoting from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakali Ashanta. That means all of these persons, all of them, whether they are seeking bhukti, whether they are seeking mukti, whether they are seeking siddhi, they're always not peaceful. Ashanta. Shanta means peaceful, but ashanta means the opposite of peaceful. Huh? Disturbed. Yeah, disturbed. Ashanta. They're always agitated. Oh, not peaceful. Mind is always agitated. They cannot find peace, actually. So, Srila Sridhar Maharaj is explaining that the first effect of Sri Krishna Samkirtan is the cleansing of the mind. Now, he goes into an interesting point here. He says that the Vedic social system, that's called Varnashram Dharma, it has been formed for this purpose. Here's what happens in the Vedic social system. If somebody is participating in the Varnashram system, they're living within the culture of Varnashram Dharma. What happens is if we discharge our social duties perfectly, then without any attraction for the consequences, we just do it as a matter of duty, then we achieve purification of our consciousness. Huh?
That is Nishkam karma.
Nishkam? No. This is not talking about Nishkam Karma Yoga. It's talking about that just by performing dutifully the Varnashram system, in a sense it's a kind of Karma Yoga, but really it's referring to a state of mind in which the person, he performs his duties without any expectation of results, without any attraction for the consequences. he achieves purification of consciousness. So, but here's the thing now, that's in the Varnashram system. That's at the end of executing the Varnashram system, purification of consciousness, right? But the first installment of Nam Samkirtan, first installment, it gives us the end result of Varnashram Dharma. You don't have to bother. Purification of the heart and mind is the end result of the Varnashram Dharma, but the first installment of Nam Samkirtan is that, purification of the heart and mind. And when this takes place, then only can we understand Vedic advice properly. Otherwise we can't conceive of it properly. Now the next effect, okay, the next effect of chanting the holy name. So first effect, Chetodarpana Marjanam. Second effect, it Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam. That this next and second effect is that it extinguishes the fire of material existence. And where is that fire taking place? In the forest of repeated birth and death. Like a forest fire. And it becomes extinguished. That's the second effect. That, what is our situation? We are forced to come into creation, and we are forced to again die. So the mundane wave catches the soul in this ocean of material existence, and then the mundane wave catches the soul, which mingles with that vibration in different stages. Now that is stopped by the second effect of Sri Krishna Samkirtan, and we become liberated. We become liberated. So he again mentions that with the first step, the first stride, the intelligence is purified. Then with the second stride, the holy name, it affects liberation from the great forest fire, conflagration. Conflagration means a big, huge, vast fire that's just burning out of control. So the name, in this, the second effect, it affects liberation from the great conflagration of threefold miseries. Adhyatmik, Adibodhik, Adidaivik. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj says the threefold miseries are adhyatmik, meaning the miseries within the body and the mind. And this is such as diseases or mental anxiety. Then the second type, adibotic. These are miseries from our neighbors. They may be in the form of other human beings, men. They may be in the form of animals, beasts. They may be insects or so many other living beings. So they cause miseries to us. And then the third, adidaivik. These are natural catastrophes that happen in nature, like famines, like flood, like earthquakes. And we have to suffer from these three kinds of miseries which burn in our heart. They burn in our heart like fire. But everything is extinguished forever by the second step, the second stride of Nam Samkirtan, which gives us relief. Now the next stage is called Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam. The holy name bestows upon us the supreme goal of life. 1 second. The next stage is Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam, that the holy name bestows upon us the supreme goal of life. So after doing away with these two negative engagements, so now our positive engagement begins. And ultimately it takes us to reality. It takes us to the real truth, which is eternal, which is auspicious, and which is beautiful. So after doing away with these two negative engagements, what are those? The first two effects: dust covering the heart, and being caught in the repeated fire of birth and death. Those are negative engagements. But after doing away with these two negative engagements, then our positive engagement begins. And ultimately, it takes us to reality. Because everything here is not reality. Everything is temporary. It's not real. It's not reality. So, and what is that reality? The real truth. The real truth of all existence. And that truth is eternal truth. That truth is auspicious truth, only giving auspiciousness. And that truth is beautiful. Beautiful. So, it takes us to that auspiciousness, which is above this world of difficulty. It's above this world of difficulty. And that's what happens for the third effect, the third stage. And then in a general way, we achieve what? In a general way, we achieve the supreme goal, the highest auspiciousness, the greatest good from chanting the holy name of Krishna. So first, in a general way, we begin to achieve this now, because now everything is positive engagement, not just doing away with the negative engagement. So, the greatest good, the highest auspiciousness, and the greatest good comes from the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. And that is ultimately the beginning of achieving the supreme goal. Now, if we analyze scrutinizingly, then we find that in this stage, the holy name takes us to an intimate, personal relationship with Krishna, which includes neutrality, servitude, friendship, filial affection, Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, and Vatsalya. Shreya, this word Shreya, the supreme benefit, it covers the grace of Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu. Because it is by His grace that we may be allowed to worship Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan. And he quotes the verse, Nitayer karuna habe braje Radha Krishna habe. By the mercy of Nitai, only through his mercy, braje Radha Krishna pabe, we can attain the service of Radha and Krishna in Braj. So now, moving on, the next stage, fourth, is called Vidya Vadhu Jivanam. Vidya Vadhu Jivanam. That the holy name prepares us for what? Wholesale surrender to Krishna. That is found in Madhurya Rasa, conjugal love, where the devotees surrender themselves infinitely at the disposal of Krishna. So he's just briefly mentioning each one of these stages. Then the next stage, Anandam Buddhivardhanam is the fifth stage. Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam. The word Ananda, we all know that. We all know that. Every single Indian-bodied person in the world knows the meaning of the word Ananda. Right? Everyone knows what is Ananda. What is Ananda? Happiness. But not just regular happiness. Ananda means bliss. It means ecstasy. You see? But here, the word Ananda is connected with the word Ambudhi. Ambudhi means ocean. Ambudhi. Anandambudhi. Anandambudhi means the ocean of Ananda. And then the next word is Vardhanam. Vardhanam. To increase. It increases the ocean of ecstasy. So, when we come to the proper level while chanting the name of Krishna, then we find the transcendental ocean that is above all different sorts of experience. There is an ocean that's way above all the different sorts of experiences in this world. So the name of Krishna, it comes to assert himself over us according to the degree of our surrender. So then Krishna also asserts himself according to the degree of our surrender to him. And when our surrender is complete, then we feel a new type of ecstatic joy. We experience an infinite ocean of joy. And that infinite ocean of joy, it is not static. You know this word static? That means it's not just stationary. No, it's moving. It's always dynamic, this ocean of ecstatic joy. It never becomes stale or static. Like bread. You keep it for a few days, it becomes stale. But everything in this world becomes stale. Everything. Everything in this world becomes stale. And everything in this world is static. That means it's not accommodating our need for joy and ecstasy. It's lacking everything in this world. So, there, in that domain of Anandam Buddhivardhanam, then we will find new life, and we will also find a new type of blissfulness. New life and a type of blissfulness we will find there. Yeah. So there, that new life and that new type of blissfulness, it never becomes stale or it never becomes static. But at every moment, it gives us a taste of the infinite ocean of ecstasy. Just imagine. That's waiting for us. That is waiting for us in our chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Now comes the last effect. This means Sarvatma Snapanam. Actually, he'll mention it later. Sarvatma Snapanam, what does that mean? It means that our Sarva Atma, our entire existence, our entire self, all levels, all phases of our self is purified. Sarvatma Snapanam. And this kind of enjoyment, this type of enjoyment does not pollute you. Every other type of enjoyment in this material world has a beginning, it has an end, and it's very polluting. You become very contaminated by trying to enjoy anything in this world. You see? So, but this kind of enjoyment, it does not pollute, it purifies. So enjoyment, what does enjoyment actually mean? Enjoyment means exploitation. Exploiting something. That's enjoyment. But mundane enjoyment, what happens? It creates a reaction because you're trying to exploit. And exploitation always ends up with reaction. So mundane enjoyment creates a reaction, and then pollution, contamination, it attacks the enjoyer, the person who's trying to enjoy. But here, because Krishna is the aggressor, he's the exploiter, then the result is purification. So our attempt to exploit and enjoy, separately from Krishna, is a perverted reflection of Krishna's supreme enjoying tendency. But Krishna is the ultimate aggressor. He will utilize everything and everyone for his enjoyment. But when he does that, what happens? The result is purification. That's the result. Purification. So, all enjoyment that comes from the center, that comes from the autocratic desire of Krishna, that type of enjoyment purifies us completely. So in this verse, the words Sarvatma Snapanam, it means that all different phases of the self, which may be conceived, which you can even imagine, all phases of your existence, all phases of yourself, all different phases of the self, which we can even imagine, they become fully satisfied and purified. At once they become fully satisfied and fully purified. How? By chanting the holy name of Krishna. By chanting Krishna's holy name, they become purified. And there's also another meaning to these two words, sarvatma snapanam. If we praise Krishna congregationally, then we will be purified according to our capacity. And both the singer and the audience, as well as anyone who comes in connection with the transcendental sound, will be purified. Snapanam, that word, snapanam, means purifying. So that vibration purifies everyone and everything that comes in touch with it. Huh? Yes. Yeah. So, therefore, Mahaprabhu says, go on with some kirtan, the congregational chanting of the holy name of Krishna. So then Srila Sridhar Maharaj says, of course, this Samkirtan, it must be genuine. It cannot be something that you're faking. It can't be artificial. It has to be genuine. And then he says, in order for that kirtan, for that Samkirtan to be genuine, then the association with saints is necessary. Without the association with pure devotees, saints, sadhus, then it's not possible. It's not possible to do real Samkirtan. Why? Because this Samkirtan is not an empirical attempt. It is not an empirical attempt, a theoretical attempt. That we are actually attempting to have a connection with the higher, with the unconditioned realm, which can descend to help us here. That's what we're attempting to do, right? Attempting to have a connection with the higher unconditioned realm, which can descend down to us, to help us here. That's what we're attempting to do through Sri Krishna Samkirtan. So we must have that connection with the higher reality, because that is all important in our attempt to reach there. So therefore, without the saints' association is not possible. So the holy name of Krishna, it is not mere physical sound. No, this holy name of Krishna is not mere physical sound. It is not lip deep only. He uses this term, lip deep. This name of Krishna, the holy name of Krishna, has a greater and a higher aspect. It is not just physical sound. Nam akshara, he quotes a verse here, Nam akshara bahiroi bate tabu name kabu noi. So, this name of Krishna is all spiritual. It is not material, it is spiritual. And we are in the marginal plane of existence, because we're jivas. So some higher connection is necessary in order that the wave will descend from that higher realm, and it will come to us, and it will spread its influence outside as well. So a higher connection is necessary. Wherever it goes, the Samkirtan of the holy name of Krishna, it will produce these sevenfold results. Wherever it goes. So this is the purport of Mahaprabhu's first verse. The first effect is that the holy name cleanses the soul. And the soul is attacked by the dirt of desires from the mundane world. And then by the second effect, it gives mukti, liberation, perfect independence from material forces. The third effect brings real good fortune. It brings real fortune. The opening of the soul's treasure. The innate resources of the soul are gradually awakened by the holy name of Krishna. The innate resources of the soul. That's a very interesting term. The innate resources of the soul are gradually awakened by the holy name of Krishna. So here, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu includes the other forms of relationship with the personal absolute. And in describing the next step, he takes the mood of conjugal devotion, conjugal love, where one is absolutely disposed for Krishna's enjoyment, unconditionally surrendering everything for his maximum pleasure. That is the stage of conjugal love. So then the next effect is the tasting of his ecstatic association. So in Vrindavan, in the realm of Krishna, then one can chant the name of Krishna properly. In Vrindavan, there in the realm of Krishna, one can chant the name of Krishna properly. And this name of Krishna will express himself with a particular sort of ego. The name of Krishna will express himself to us with a peculiar sort of ego. The chanter will have this very amazing experience. And now Srila Sridhar Maharaj quotes the very famous verse written by Rupa Goswami, where Rupa Goswami is describing the name, 2 syllables, Krishna. What happens to someone when these 2 syllables come? So I'm reading the verse and telling the translation of this verse. Tunde tandavani ratim vitanute tundavali labdhaye karna kroda kadambini gatayate karnar buddhebhyah spriham chetak prangana sangani vijayate sarvendriyanam kritim no jane janita Kiyadbir amritai Krishneti varna dvayi. So here Srila Sridhar Maharaj is giving the expanded translation. When the holy name of Krishna appears on the lips of a devotee, then the holy name, begins madly dancing. Madly dancing. Then the name takes over and handles him as if the person to whom the lips belong loses all control over his lips. And then the devotee says, with one mouth, how much can I gather? The ecstasy of the holy name. I need millions of mouths to taste its unlimited sweetness. I'll never feel any satisfaction by chanting with only one mouth. So when the sound Krishna enters the ear, then that devotee feels the transcendental sound awaken in his heart. And he thinks, what are 2 ears? This is the greatest injustice of the Creator. I need millions of ears. And only then, if I could hear the sweet name of Krishna, then my heart might be a little satisfied. I want millions and millions of ears to hear the sweet name of Krishna. This is the temperament of a devotee when his attention is drawn towards the holy name. And then, what happens? Then he faints. He faints. He loses himself, merging in an ocean of ecstasy and joy. And in great disappointment, then he says, I failed to understand the quality and the quantity of the substance of Krishna's name. I am perplexed. What sort of honey sweetness does this name contain? In this way, the chanter of the name wonders. He becomes overwhelmed with wonderment. Can you imagine that this will happen to us? It will happen. Because all 7 effects will take place one by one by one. We have to continue always and strive to fully surrender. Now, all of this has been taught to us by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said, properly chant the holy name. Properly chant the holy name. The sound representation of absolute sweetness. That's what the holy name is. It is the sound representation of absolute sweetness. So we should properly chant the holy name. And that sweetness is also to be found in the flute song of the Lord. The sound of Krishna's flute has the great mystic power of capturing and of pleasing everyone and everything. That's the mystic power of Krishna's flute. He can capture and please everyone and everything. So upon hearing the sound of Krishna's flute, what happens to the Yamuna River? The current of the Yamuna River is paralyzed. It stops, like as if it's a stone. And then the sweet sound of Krishna's flute, it attracts the trees, it attracts the birds, and even the beasts, the animals. Everything is astounded by contacting the sweet vibration from Krishna's flute. So sound vibration, it can work miracles. Sound has the highest capturing potency. Sound does. Capturing potency. And it can work miracles. Sound can make something, or it can mar something. Sound can do anything. It has such intrinsic capacity. And it comes from the subtlemost plane. It comes from beyond the ether. That universal sound, what is it? That universal sound is absolute sweetness and absolute goodness. How much power is there? How it can capture us like a blade of grass. We may be played by the current of that sweet sound. And we may be played by that current in such a way that we cannot even trace out our own personality. Our own personality will practically not be perceptible to us. We may lose ourselves there in that sound. But we do not die. No, no, no. The soul is eternal. So the soul now diving up and down, diving and diving up and down, then we are played by the current of the sweet sound. We are played by that current of the sweet sound. But what is our qualification? We are less qualified than a straw. Less qualified than a straw. Than a blade of grass. And the Krishna sound is so big and it is so sweet that it can play us in any way that it likes. So we cannot begin to conceive how much power is in the name. That the sound which is identical with absolute goodness and sweetness, the name of Krishna. How much power is there? Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, don't neglect the sound which is one and the same with Krishna. That sound is Krishna. Krishna's name is Krishna. So don't neglect the sound which is one and the same with Krishna. Absolute sweetness and absolute goodness. Everything is there within the holy name. And the holy name is representing itself to us in a very cheap way. Very not expensive. Very cheap way. It's representing itself to us. Nothing is required to purchase it. No money, no physical energy. All these things are unnecessary. What is required? Yes, there is something required from our side. And what is that? What? No. Sincerity. Sincerity. Do you know what that means? Sincerity? No, it is a positive thing. It's not just the opposite of something. What is sincerity? Sincerity means that your attitude is not false. Your attitude is real, it's coming from your heart. You genuinely want this thing. You genuinely want connection with Krishna. So that is required, but nothing else is actually required. Because the holy name is coming in a very cheap way. The holy name is representing itself to us. Nothing required to purchase, no money, no physical energy. Lord Nityananda Prabhu sings this in one of the songs in our songbook by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And there it is told that Lord Nityananda has opened up a marketplace. Huh? Yes, Namhata. A marketplace of the holy name. He's opened it up. Where did he open it up? In Godrum, at Surabhi Kunj. And what is he doing? He's calling out to everyone, come and buy. Like sellers in a marketplace, they always try to coax you. Come, buy, come, buy. Hey, Hare Krishna, come buy. Huh? So Lord Nityananda, he is the proprietor of the marketplace. He's the proprietor. But he's giving the holy name in this marketplace. He's selling it to customers who are coming. And then he's determining in each customer what is their level of what? Faith, their level of Shraddha. And then he begins to bargain with the customer. Okay, so I'll give to you this level of Nam. Because you can only afford the corresponding level of Nam according to your sincerity, according to your Shraddha. But Lord Nityananda sees all that, and then he bargains. He says, okay, you should purchase now from me this holy name of Krishna. Now, so one who simply takes this divine sound sincerely, he will be so enriched that no one will be able to conceive of so much goodness and so much development. And anyone may have it very cheaply, anyone. But one must chant sincerely with his whole heart. That's how one must chant, sincerely with his whole heart. And of course, wholehearted sincerity, there's also a prerequisite to that. It presupposes what? That person, he is approaching through a proper agent, a proper saint, a pure devotee, and he is getting the holy name from him. That's what is presupposed. So, Sri Krishna Samkirtan is praised by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the inaugurator of the Samkirtan movement and who came as Radha Govinda combined. And his advice is most valuable and necessary to tell us that with a sincere spirit we must come to join this Sri Krishna Samkirtan, which is the most purifying, transcendental sound, which affects liberation, which gives all fulfillment, which grants us such a positive attainment that we lose ourselves in the ocean of joy and the inconceivable sweetness. So this is Sriman Mahaprabhu's grace. And he proclaims, let Sri Krishna Samkirtan, let it be expanded into this mortal world that it may benefit everyone infinitely, for this is the highest and it is the greatest benefit for the whole world. And it is all comprehensive. And it releases us from all sorts of troubles, establishing us in the highest position of attainment. And in this present degraded age of Kali, only Nam Samkirtan can help us. Only Nam Samkirtan can help us, nothing else. So, of course, Nam Samkirtan is also beneficial in all the other ages, Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga. It's beneficial in all the ages, but it is especially recommended in the Kali Yuga, because in this age, all other attempts will be opposed by many other forces. All those other attempts at meditation, sacrifice, deity worship, they will be opposed by many other forces. Therefore, Nam Samkirtan cannot be opposed by the troubles and the waves of this material world. No. So therefore, one must adopt it. And if we exclusively give ourselves to this, then we will gain the highest fulfillment of life. There is no necessity of any other campaign, for they are all defective and all partial. But the most universal, captivating, and beneficial thing is Nam Samkirtan, which takes us to the highest goal. That alone can satisfy everyone. So there's a few more pages. We'll have to finish that in our next class. But just see. Wow. Just see. Yes. There's no necessity of any other campaign, not social, not political, not any other type of campaign. Only this. Because all those other types of campaigns, they're all defective, they're all partial. But the most universal, captivating, and beneficial thing is Nam Samkirtan, which takes us to the highest goal. That alone can satisfy everyone. All souls that are now disconnected from Krishna, they may be helped in this way. No other movement is necessary. No other movement is necessary. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells us, exclusively devote yourself to this. It is all embracing and all fulfilling. And you can achieve it with the least trouble and the least energy. So let it flourish in this Kali Yuga. Let it flourish. Let it flourish for the welfare of the whole universe, to re-establish all souls in their normal position. Gaur Premanande, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhubheva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So, all glories to Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. What incredible, incredible Harikatha. That's all I can say. I can't even express it. I'd have to yell at the top of my lungs up on the top of the roof to everybody in Navadvip. I just heard the most incredible Harikatha. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj, don't neglect his Vani. His Vani is absolutely unique. How he expresses. Because he's on the highest level of realization, and he's the highest, most perfected, most accomplished poet, transcendental poet. So we'll complete this first chapter on the first verse of Sikshastakam on Thursday, day after tomorrow. And then we'll see, because actually a lot of the other verses don't have as long of an explanation as this one. So we'll go quite quickly through the 8 verses. And then at the end of the entire Sikshastakam commentary that he gives, then there's also a third part of the book which is titled, let me see. The third part of the book is titled Part 3, the conclusion. The conclusion. And there, in that conclusion, There's about, let's see, it's long, 248, 225. It's like 23 pages to conclude, and it's just incredible nectar. Conclusion of the entire book. So that we're in for a lot of nectar that's coming. Okay, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Shri Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Shri Krishna Sankirtana ki jai. Vrindai Tulsi Debai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Pradedevi Sachavachai Namo Namo. Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhubheva Cha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.